Hitesh Patel, Performance Improvement Coach at Accelerate Training. Now, the fundamentals of influence are 7 key tenets of behavior and attitude that allow us to better garner the goodwill and cooperation of others. Let's dip a toe into some of the insights they can share in exerting greater influence in our personal and professional relationships. Fundamental 6. Never go toe-to-toe. Let your ego go. At some point in many of our personal and professional relationships, we're going to encounter strong differences of opinion. Perhaps heated debate or even out-and-out arguments. Now, these situations can have a lasting legacy upon those relationships, sometimes in a healthy way when people overcome their differences and even come to value them. But often, these occasions of disagreement can undermine the relationship. They create distrust, resentment, and adversarial barriers between friends and colleagues. There's often a transitional point in the heated debate when egos start to get involved and the actual points of debate become secondary. The need to establish who is right seems to outweigh the need to establish what is right, and personal battles ensue. Why does this happen? There can be many contributing reasons, but often egotistical pride and self-protection lie at the heart of it. We have a strong attachment to our opinions and a natural inclination to defend them when challenged. Suggesting that our reasoning is flawed challenges our credibility, especially in the professional domain, where we've got to demonstrate our proficiency in performing a job role. When opinions are challenged, it's expected that individuals will put forward an objective, logically reasoned argument, and then the most compelling will become apparent and accepted. Unfortunately, ego didn't graduate from the school of objectivity, and it clings more to the hope of maintaining our self-esteem, credibility, group worthiness, and respect. Being proved right validates all of the above, whilst the opposite plunges us into embarrassment, self-doubt, and insecurity. A bruised ego has a long memory, and even minor arguments can sow the seeds of resentment that can resurface later in the guise of ill will and sometimes even outright sabotage. Even when the other person's perspective is proven right, ego is rarely magnanimous in accepting right over wrong when pride is concerned. Addressing differences of opinion is an essential part of group working, both in personal and professional life. So what's the best way of managing those challenging interactions when we need to work as part of a group? To have a more productive exchange of opposing views, we need to avoid letting ego engage in the conversation. We need to find a way of getting others to stay open-minded during the exchange of opposing opinions and disagreement, and also maintain our composure and objectivity. This requires us to manage egos on both sides of the discussion and keep in mind the end goal we're hoping to achieve, especially when we need to keep others on board and we're going to need their cooperation and goodwill in the long term. Let's try asking ourselves, well, is it more important that I'm proved right, or that we emerge from this challenging discussion with the end goal still in sight and goodwill still intact? It sounds easy enough, but there's a certain pleasure we get from winning arguments, especially with people we don't like in front of people that we do, that gets the better of us in the heat of the moment. If at all possible, never go toe-to-toe with another ego and let your ego go. This tongue twister is one of those fundamentals that will be most challenging to embrace when we're under pressure. And so it's a habit we need to form in our day-to-day conversations, which are less pressured, so that we can form an unconscious competence that will be invoked when we're in more pressurized situations. So how can we avoid going toe-to-toe? Well, firstly, let's avoid telling people they're wrong. All it does is provokes their ego to come racing to their defense, and then we get involved in ego battles. Instead, let's refer to the facts of the situation, rather than allude to any kind of mistake, error of judgment, or understanding on their part. Let's ask questions that gets them to elaborate on their opinion. This gives us more to consider when we're trying to think of why they're reading the situation in the way they are, no matter how wrong they are. And it focuses our efforts on getting them to see another perspective, not necessarily a better one or a corrective alternative. When it's our ego that's being provoked, we need to take a moment to sit in the ringside seat of the fight that's going on, and consider the impact it's having on that relationship, any innocent bystanders, and most importantly, the desired outcomes we had in mind. Let's think about those outcomes and ask ourselves, is it more important that I win and that I'm right? Sometimes it's better to lose the battle of egos in favor of winning the war of outcomes. And for other people, sometimes winning the smaller ego battle allows them to relax a little and consider our perspectives with an open mind. Also take a look at Fundamental 4. Swim with the current before you build a dam. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Now, if it was helpful to you, perhaps you could help us raise the awareness of Accelerate Solutions. Give us a like, a share, or perhaps leave a comment or two in the notes below. Thank you.